You are probably one of the millions of people who are looking into alternative medicine, therapies, healing, energy healing, Reiki, all sort of stuff that is supposed to address the unknown. So you have a feel, a feeling of being unwell, and you are trying to fix it, but you don't know what's wrong with you. And you talk to psychologists, you talk to therapists, you talk to people online. Now, in your search, trying to fix this your issue, you got info about all sort of mindfulness, other type of therapies, and you tried, and for sometimes they do work. I'll give you an analogy. Let's say you have a phone that's overloaded, the memory is almost full because you put a lot of crap in it, stuff that you don't really need. And it's painful when you try to browse the internet and you can't do that because you get memory full, or the phone is overheating, or computer, doesn't matter. And you do updates, all seem to be okay. But it's a struggle to use the newer apps, or you cannot even load the new apps, and you think, oh yeah, my phone is very old. Same thing, older people like my age, assume that they are old, they're getting old, it's the normal. And they talk to other people and say, oh yeah, you're getting old, that's normal to get arthritis, to get back pain, joint pain, and have some other issues. Yeah, that's the normal. And people can replace the phone with a new generation phone, and they keep doing that. They keep upgrading their laptop, their computer, every couple of years, new, just to keep up with demand. But some people still use the flip phone, very old phone. As long as the phone can connect and can act as a phone, and has a crappy camera, and still works. But what's the difference between new generation people, like people who complain a lot about not being able to use their phone, the phone does not perform, they keep pushing, and they push the phone and the body beyond some limits, the normal limits. Why? Because they don't understand that they are being pushed from someone else. So there is lots of demand on these people, and they pass the demand to their children, to their spouses, to their phone. People become impatient, and they suffer. They don't understand what's the root cause of my suffering, why I don't feel loved, why I cannot feel good about myself, why I have these depressive thoughts, why. So they overload themselves like in all the hardware. And I'll tell you what they do. They go on the internet, or they talk to friends who appear to know better. Why? Because these people who suffer, they lost their bearings. They don't know who they are. They don't know their abilities, their powers to fix themselves. And they go to people who appear to know, and you will find people who know everything every time. All sort of gurus. I'm not your guru. Tony Robbins said that's a humble approach. That guy, it's a big soul. He helps millions of people. He did help me indirectly. I did not talk to that guy in person. I did not show up at his shows, at his I don't know, uh, I don't know, appearances in different cities. No, I never saw this guy in person, but he had a big impact into my life. I did listen to his tapes. I did watch a bunch of his YouTubes, and it did touch my core system. Now people, like I said, they find all sort of gurus, and what they do, they load their system, their mind, with apps like the phone. You load a cleaner app, an app that is improving your battery, an app that is doing this and that and that, and temporarily does appear to help. Of course, some apps are stealing the data. That's different story. Same thing. You go to psychics, and some psychics will steal your data. Means they will get into your aura, your energy, and they will learn about you, so they can kind of exploit you. But it's not the psychic who exploits you. Is the evil spirits, the parasites who are navigating around the certain psychics. I'm not saying all the psychics are like that, but there are psychics who are loaded with spiritual viruses, and they are extracting data, they are stealing your energy. Anyway, so those apps, the psychics, can help you temporarily. They can give you some clues how to fix certain things in your life, but they will never address the core problem. Also, I used to send, and I still do, energy healing. It does help for a while, but it does not change the person at the core. Same thing, you load apps on your phone or your antivirus, and antivirus appears to do something, but if you load, let's say, Norton antivirus, it will slow down your system. So I do not use antivirus programs on my computer. It's just what comes with the Windows. Again, all these therapies like a mindfulness does help, but it's a temporary fix. So once you stop mindfulness, a couple of months later, you go back to your old ways of thinking. Why? Because your core operating system never changed. So if you have a computer loaded with Windows, and you notice that after a couple of years that Windows system doesn't get updates, it's slowing all the hardware down, it does not run certain programs, what you do? You buy an upgrade, and for a while that system might work better, or the upgrade, the new version, maybe Windows 11, would do some testing before installing, and it tells you that the hardware is not good, so you need to change your computer. But what you do with your body? So you are 50, 60 years old, you cannot change the body, and God will never send you an update for the operating system. Who's in charge with the update to get you running better? Be able to cope with new programs in the world. Like, let's say you move to another country because you're not happy in your country, and you realize that people or creatures around have different skin color, different language. So what you do? You change yourself. How you update your operating system in order to adapt with a new world? What you do? Can you change your hardware? Can you put a box somewhere in your head, an adapter in order to translate? No, you need to update your operating system, so you learn new languages, you learn new skills, you get a job, you learn new programs, which is part of your operating system. But if you deal with these emotional issues and depression and this type of stress all the times, I gave you some answers before in different videos related to how you manage your energy. I said about how bipolar disorder evolves from a normal person into full-blown bipolar disorder person who have these ups and downs and crises and dark nights or dark days or dark mind and deep depressive states and stuff. It's management of energy, management of the programs that are part of the operating system, and how you do in order to get away from those. If you just install apps, like you go to this mindfulness, this therapy, you go to this Reiki session, like I said, those are apps, and it will work for a while, but they work on an operating system. Some people, what they do, they keep the same hardware and they replace the operating system completely. And I want to touch another side topic. If you look at who built the operating system, who are people at the top? If you look at the Windows, who are the people who are pulling the strings? Who are people in the board of directors of the Microsoft? Who are those who run that business? Those lead the energy. They lead the information. They lead the company culture, company policies, how that business is run, and how the product is being developed. So the Windows as a operating system is being developed by people who share same core values with the leadership. So if I had different choice, I would never use Windows, because it doesn't feel like connect even it's a nice to use operating system, but if I had different choice, let's say an operating system made by people who are, let's say, Buddhists, all Buddhists, okay, I would install a Buddhist type of operating system, or doesn't matter, some religious, doesn't matter. I picked up like people who are with God and understand God creation, and they tap into creativity. So I would install that operating system, but I don't have too many choices. So I could install Linux, but Linux also it's kind of an open system, and a bunch of hackers tap into that system and add on and stuff like that. So how do I know which I trust? Should I go with Apple? Maybe Apple, but also Apple evolved from a system developed by people like Steve Jobs with that type of mindset energy into a system that we have today, a system that kind of is closed system and does not really allow much freedom to their users. So about coming back to the human operating system, if you use a system that has a bunch of programs, which, let's say, smoking, negative thinking, those are programs. Yes, it's information. You have, let's say, you deal with abusive partner, you had other programs, like old programs, like you've been abused by teachers, you've done a bunch of stupid stuff, you're a sinner, let's say, from a religious point of view, you're a nasty sinner, your thoughts are not very pleasant, and those thoughts are really automatic, you can't really get rid of those thoughts. Those are your programs, part of your operating system. That's the way you operate emotionally and mentally. Now firmware, like I said in different video, is different. The firmware is the BIOS of your body that makes the body work independently of your mind. So if you shut down the brain, let's say during the sleep, or the person goes into vegetative state, the firmware still works and the body can still function. If it's fed, if it's nourished, cleaned up, the body can function because of that firmware. But we suffer because of a faulty operating system, or an operating system that is loading a bunch of nasty programs. That's an operating system. It's a sum of programs that work together on a platform. So if you have this trauma, and if the trauma is the biggest program in your operating system, that's your core system. You build a core belief, and what you do, you need to replace that, the whole system. You can try to replace certain programs, but let's say if you got a virus, let's say you were raised by a narcissistic parent, that virus from the narcissistic parent virus, the informational virus, got into your system. So you are programmed, and let's say you grow up, you are an adult, you become a narcissistic person as well, and you don't realize, and you hurt yourself and your relationship, and nobody tells you because people are nice, are polite, unless someone is really pushing you to go to check with the doctor. But from inside of your box, you don't realize you're a narcissistic person. You have a core operating system has a virus, like one of the programs, or more than one of the programs, got infected, and your thinking, your emotions, your feelings are being affected by that information that came from a parent, or maybe you had some nasty relationship and you just copied over 20 years living with the same partner. You copied a behavior without you realizing. It was transfer of information, transfer of energy from one to another. Yeah, and like I said, apps, like you go to on the internet and you get this now get help therapy, or you go to some psychologist office and they give you some therapy, and you see now in schools kids have access to therapy, and actually lots of therapists are destroying the kids. Why? Because the therapist also is being got virus that come with an agenda, an evil agenda, encouraging the kids to be confused about their identity. And I mentioned that's an evil agenda that is pushing the kids who are trying to discover themselves, pushing the kids to discover something else, to program themselves with a doctrine that it's not divine, doesn't have anything to do with God. It's like a kid is trying to find the ways, like have a compass, and the school come with the pressure, parents come with the pressure, society come with the pressure, and kid feels like, oh yeah, I'm overloaded. Yes, like a little computer that have too much data. Yeah, so you have a computer that is running low on memory, and the kid is now confused, can't focus. Some teachers say, oh yeah, she has ADD, ADHD, bullshit, DD. But the kid is just overloaded. Sugary drinks, pressure, you need to do this and that and that. Then internet, you need to compete with this on Facebook, Instagram. So much information, and the mind is overloaded. And the kid feels like, oh yeah, it's too much for me. I am having a crisis. Yeah, it's normal to have a crisis. Stay in your cocoon, stay in your comfort zone, so it's going to be okay. Yeah, narrow your comfort zone, is going to be okay, because we have therapy, and the kid goes to the therapy, doesn't talk to the parent, goes to the therapy, and the therapists have an agenda, cannot really say something really divine or godly. Say, oh yeah, express yourself, you do, yeah, that's good. So it's nothing practical to help these kids get better or recover, because the therapist gets the paycheck. It's cool. The therapist can keep the job, otherwise they can lose their license if they speak up their mind, if they are really God's people. So lots of therapists are kind of keep their jobs that pays, which are survival level, is not really working their gift. If they have a gift, it's just a job. And who suffer? The kids suffer. And same thing goes with adults, Adults go to see a shrink or something, and the person pretends to listen. And how do I know that? Because I had 2 sessions with counselor online when I had some anxiety problem, and talking to someone who is just like looking at me, and by the end I'm saying, can you help me? I just explained in a bunch of 40 minutes I was talking to tell you what's my problem. Can you help me? And one of these with a pen, like those on TV, pen on yeah, I think you can manage by yourself. I don't think you need a... Okay, that's why I'm paying $120 an hour to talk to you. And another one prescribed some pills, which I tried and got me worse. I got panic attacks now and stuff. I said, what? And then it says, oh yeah, you need to take these pills for a month so you see a benefit. But you cannot stop it once you got used to it. So once you get into a zombie state, you cannot stop it without checking with the doctor. So they get you into this zombie state because it takes a month to get used to the new feeling a zombie. And like I said, these are the programs over your operating system, which are meant to give you some relief or to modify something, but it's not a core change into your system. How I made a change, a core system? I tell you something, is maybe only the religious people will understand that. I appeal to a doctrine that's related to God. So since I'm a Christian, I started to attend church and connect with Jesus. Right, that was the fix for me. And slowly the information kind of is like, wow, it feels this is who I am. This is like, and I felt a change. I don't know how to explain, but it's difficult. It's like the change was pushed from outside. I had to take action. It's not like, okay, you change the operating system and no. In order to reload the operating system with a new one or with something different, you need to have intent. They cannot force you to load the OS without your consent. So God will never change your heart just because God wants you to be a better person. No. There are so many people who can replace you at any time for God's plan. But you are the one who is in charge with your soul, with your mind, with your thoughts, with your keeping it clean, like cleaning up your stuff, or getting dirty, getting into sinful lifestyle. You are in charge. God is, in charge of the world. But you decide, I want a system change. I don't want just a bullshit new app installed on top of my apps. Unless the new app is really powerful and is able to clean up stuff. So I did look into some sort of it's called emotion code. Yeah, that's supposedly does something. And we tried that one on a friend in Italy. And it did work a little bit, but the person is in the same situation. After 2 years later, the person is exactly in the same situation. So that emotion code did not work. But now, like I said, there are people who don't have the power to decide for themselves, to even think of God. They don't have that power. It's like their mind is all foggy, all a mess. Or they were programmed. They have this operating system made in a way that they cannot connect to God or to the idea of God. Atheists are like that. So you cannot really change an atheist unless the atheist goes through some sort of a life transformation moment when decides, you know what, my old self is not good. It never served me. What I'm supposed to do. Maybe there is a God, and then the prayer comes into place, and the atheist can make a change because it taps into the God idea. Talk to you later. Change your OAS. Buddhists are good. Christians, good, but take only godly stuff. Don't really go for the religion, go for the doctrines left by those ascended masters. Muslims, good. Everything is good. But you need to be careful what type of OAS you take. If you go into some sort of a small cult, which is a branch of that specific religion, maybe the system is not that good for you. Talk to you. Bye bye.